Okay, welcome everybody to our third drawing lesson. And today we're doing something completely different than we did last week. You did your hands last week. Today we're doing an empty chair. There's nobody in the chair. So anyway, we're doing the perception of spaces today. And you know, the thing about spaces is there are positive and negative spaces in every piece of artwork. And an artist pays attention to both of those. Oftentimes somebody that is not used to doing art just draws something in the middle of the page without ever thinking about the space around the thing. So what happens a lot of times is what we know about an object is not really what the object is. For instance, there's a chair in the front right there. My left brain would say, well, that chair has a square bottom, right? And that chair has a square back, maybe with some things in it. And it has 4 legs. And each of the legs are the same length. And that's my left brain drawing of a chair. It looks like a child's drawing of a chair, okay? So that's not what we want. We don't want a child's drawing of a chair, we want a real chair. And so that's what you're going to be learning to do today. And to do that, we're going to learn about positive and negative shapes. And I'm going to pass 3 pictures around. I want you to look at the pictures and see if you can tell what the negative shapes are. Don't tell us. Just see if you notice what the negative spaces are in these pictures. That's one we just found today, actually. And just pass them all around. Just make note of it. Also, that envelope is also a negative space one.
That's amazing.
Okay. Who saw negative spaces in this? Okay, you all did. You saw the 2 faces, right? Okay, that took me a while to see. We just found that this morning.
What is the negative space?
Okay, there are 2 faces in here, and you have to really focus on them. There are...
And once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Yeah.
There are,
In the pot?
Yeah,
in the pot. Okay.
yeah, in the pot. There's a face here and a face here.
And that's considered a negative space?
Yes,
Why is that?
because you aren't seeing what you're supposed to be seeing.
Oh.
So you're not paying attention to the negative space. Okay, how about this one? How many saw the negative space in this one? Nobody, huh?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah.
What is it?
It's the white and gray. Well, I think it is.
Like horns.
Like what?
And those things going up.
Like a cat or something?
No. It's a little kiss right here between the K and the
Oh my
I.
A
God.
little what?
Little what?
A kiss,
Oh.
a Hershey's kiss. This is a Hershey's kiss.
Maybe it is.
And this is the negative space in there, and you didn't focus
I've
on
got
it.
a question.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that whole black background considered negative space?
Yes.
It's not just that little symbol that you see?
Yes, but that symbol was what
But
they
what they were
purposely
doing.
put in there as a negative space and to
Okay.
see if it would get your
Okay.
attention.
And then they were
Okay.
seeing
So how about this one? Anyone see the negative space on this one? Okay, what is it?
The arrow.
It's the arrow right here. Yep, that's a negative space. So I just use these as examples because every artist, you know, and some artists did this, even commercial artists, pay attention to negative spaces. They're aware of every space in this place, and you're going to become more aware of it too. And we're going to start off by, I'm going to do a demonstration of a drawing of a ram and tell you how to focus on the negative spaces, and you're going to draw just the negative spaces. Okay? So just a minute, and you have to turn the camera around. This is the ram picture that you will be drawing in today's lesson. Okay, you're going to get a picture of a ram, okay? And you can see this ram very clearly. You know what it is. This is the positive space where the ram is. But imagine that the ram was a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and that Bugs Bunny was going, there was a doorway around him, and he was smashing through the doorway, and what's left is negative space.
Right.
Okay, there's no bunny there, but you see the shape of the bunny. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. Now you have your viewfinder, and the way that we do this is to find a unit in this piece, and it should be kind of a medium unit. So I'm going to take as my unit this part of the leg right here. Oh, is this not working right? Okay, and this unit is equivalent to up here. So that tells me how far up this has to go. And I'm going to make a shape. This is a negative shape. Oh, this isn't working.
Here you go.
Okay. Let's see if this works. Ah, this is a big one though. Okay. So I'm not drawing the ram. I'm drawing the shape between the ram's legs. Now when I go up here, I can see that there's a shape over here. And I'm not going to draw the ram again. I'm going to draw the shape around the ram. And it goes, and that also takes in the edge of the format. Okay, now I'm not going to draw that line because it's not important. But around here, I'm going to draw this shape around the ram up here. And I have to do the format. And the shape around the ram's horn and the end of his back. Whoops, I didn't want that line in there. Okay, and then down the leg. Another shape here and another shape here. Now I haven't drawn this ram, but what do you see when you look at this?
The ram.
A ram,
Yeah.
right. So I've done just the negative shape, not the ram itself. And that's what you're going to start with. And you're going to start by, you can draw the whole ram on this if you want, or you can just draw one unit and then draw it on the rest of it on your paper. But you're going to draw the format. Okay, and you're going to do the crosshairs. I didn't do the crosshairs on here. Okay, yeah. Because this will keep you oriented to where you're supposed to be drawing. Did I do that right? Yeah, okay. Okay, now you can use this to focus on, because you can see where the crosshairs are, and you can draw this shape. Don't draw the ram, draw the shape in between the ram's legs. Okay. And you can go back and correct if you see some things that could be done a little bit better, erase them out. And I can see that this needs to be over further. And then draw in, just take your pencil and draw in the negative shapes, okay? And you'll have a ram there. Now, what this makes you start thinking of, thinking like an artist, is that when an artist draws something on a painting, they not only think about the thing that they're drawing, they think about the space that is left in between. And that's really important. And that space goes to the edge of the format. So that fits in with it too, because that's part of the shape, is the edge of the format. I think I could have done that a little bit more. And you can look at your regular picture and check it out, see if it looks like the outside of the ram. And draw all around this picture. So when you look at a painting the next time, think about the negative shape in that painting, and that the artist was very conscious of what that shape was going to be. It's just not a throwaway shape. It's a shape that makes up the painting. And it might be perfect, but you can certainly read that as a ram. And then you can take out your lines, and you've got a nice picture of a ram. But all what you've painted, what you've drawn, is the negative space, not the actual object. Okay? Okay. So, okay. We've all done some beautiful little rams, and they all look like rams. But you were doing something the same size as you were looking at. This time we're going to make it a little more difficult because we've got a chair in front of us, and it's a different size than what you're going to have on your paper. And so the first thing, after I get finished with the demo, I want you to draw a format around the outside of your larger viewfinder. And tone in, like we did before, tone it in. Make sure you don't make it too dark. Make sure it's nice and even and smooth and silvery. And then, what?
With charcoal?
Graphite.
Graphite.
Yes, with graphite. And then make the grid across the top and the bottom on this, but again, do it lightly. Okay, now I want you to take your viewfinder and hold it against your nose like this. And then put it straight out to the arm's length until you have that chair inside the viewfinder window. Okay, you want to do that?
To choose which eye to look through.
Ah. Okay, now what you're going to do, remember I talked about picking a unit. You're going to close one eye, have your chair in your view, and then pick a unit. And the unit could be a leg of the chair, it could be one of the crossbars. I'm going to pick a crossbar across the bottom. and draw a line across that. Okay, it's hard to draw a straight line. Don't worry about if it's straight, but just get the length right. Okay, that's going to be your unit, which means that you can take a pencil and measure that unit and look back through your viewfinder with one eye closed and see how the next unit, the leg of the chair, it's a little bit longer than that. So maybe 1/8 of an inch longer. So when I draw this on my paper, first of all, I'm going to pick the spot that this unit is in the grid and make a line. And be aware of the angles of the line. So if you're doing the seat of the chair, the front of the chair is a straight line across. It's horizontal. But when you go to the side of the chair, it's at an angle. Put your pencil up there and look at the angle.
Well, that depends where you're sitting, doesn't it?
Yes, where you're sitting, it is, well, yeah, it does depend on where you're sitting. But look at the ones that are vertical and the ones that are at an angle. And make sure you get that angle in there and figure out what that angle is with your pencil. You can use your pencil. And artists a lot of times use their pencils to measure things. So I've got this going across, and I've got a chair going down. And the chairs, also the legs of the chairs, see what angle they're at from where you're sitting. They might be straight, or they might be slightly turned in, or they might be at a total angle. Think about how far apart those angles are from each other. And remember to be drawing the space around the chair. So if I'm drawing a leg of a chair, I'm thinking of the space around it. Where does that leg come within that space? Keeping one eye closed really helps on this. Because, you know, when you keep your eye closed, you're giving up your three-dimensional view. You're flattening it, which is what we always want to do, is flatten. You can also use your pencil to make comparisons, like how high is the back of the chair compared with your unit that you started with. And remember, you can always make corrections. If something isn't right, erase the line and rework it.
Spaces, huh? It's hard to hold this still.
It
You know, I
is.
start writing on it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, I moved it to the right or the left, and, or if you look.
Well, one thing you can look, if you have your unit drawn on this thing, you can reposition it by putting that unit back up where you had it.
So you want us to do the negative space,
Yes,
and so we've got to do all those bars?
yes.
Thank you. Ah.
Yeah, all that negative space in between the bars is what you're going to be drawing. You can use your ruler because there's a lot of straight lines on this and it's hard to make a straight line. Even for artists. Artists have a hard time doing straight lines. That's why we have rulers. Okay.
A chair.
Your chair should look something like this when you're done. You can lighten the background or lighten the chair, whichever one you prefer, but there should be contrast between the chair and the background.
Instead of a mistake, can we call it artistic license?
Okay, I have to give you all credit for doing a wonderful job. And take this home and look at it, because if you've ever done a chair before, you never did one like this, I'm sure. So make sure that you give yourself credit, go back and try doing another one. Next week, we're doing something very different. We're gonna do perspective, okay? And what I want, I've got this marvelous magazine, this is amazing. But look at some magazines from home, and I have a lot more pictures in here if you want. But find pictures of either interiors or exteriors of houses that show it in perspective, like these. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a little lesson in perspective next time. Perspective. Okay, whole different ball game next week. So bring in photographs.